Hello, my name is Susan Weese, and for my leadership project, I created a few shared folders and some other helpful cheat sheets for my department and for the organization's departments. For my leadership project, I chose to discuss budgeting and how I can help make it easier. In my organization, there is a parent organization, and within that, there is the smaller organizations. There are other departments that specialize in certain disciplines, but all organizations report to a higher entity. I have been working on this with this organization for a while now, and I have learned essential duties of budgeting and budget reporting. All departments within the parent organization use the same tool to allow each individual department and parent department easy access to budgets and are able to run those data, meaning those account analyses, and bring those together into a pivot report that tracks the daily operations of each department as well as the parent organization. I was actually amazed to find that most of the heads of these departments did not know how to run the reports and use pivot tables and see what they are looking and understanding what they are seeing on those ledgers. I found that the administrative assistants are the ones that really know how to do it and extract the data from the financial program so that departments could know their budgets and how much has been spent in their department. This is where I come in, and I have never officially worked on a budget or budget reporting, but I've had a little bit of help being able to understand these budgets. So I would like to submit my idea and what I did for the leadership program. This is just a small clip of everything that I kind of grabbed and pulled together. So as you can see, I'm talking about teamwork and how I designed a shared folder and templates for the entire departments and their administrative assistants, as well as the senior business manager who is over all of the administrative assistants. And what I did is, with her help, I was able to streamline the operations for pulling all these data sheets and entering them into an Excel pivot to then see what the breakdown by account, by department, by cost centers, that'll break it down completely so that everybody can understand where they stand financially. So budgeting and data, and this is going to be the process of how one person or the other administrative assistants, also the business manager, this is one of the ways, the only way that we can pull the data. On this slide, I'm wanting you to see that there's two different processes that are going to happen to enable the end product to be what we need for reporting. Here you'll see it says scheduled processes. That's going to be where we pull all of the budgets and the operations for each department. And the report and analytics, that's where we're going to find mainly salary ledgers and a few other departmental budgeting tools. So those are the two main things that we use. And this is how I would pull data or any administrative assistant or the senior business manager would pull data. It starts with going into scheduled processes. Then you would choose name, or the name of the process, which is going to be account analysis report, which you can see right here. Also, once you get into the account analysis report, you have to go into another place to pick exactly which template it's going to pull. So this is just one example of if I were to be pulling a budget. So not only would I have to go through all of the beginning process in choosing the correct template, but now I have a lot more to choose from. So in this example, you'll see that this is going to be for budgets, the fiscal year 17. What kind of balance type, which that could be actual, encumbrance, or both. And then down here at the bottom, you can see where my pointer is. That is also going to be another parameter that you're going to have to set up. So if you come over here to the right-hand side of the slide, you will see the 4 major things that have to be included for one account to be run and the data to be received. So within my organization, they have funds, whether it be appropriated or if it's local, or if it's a grant, so you can have those 3 in there. The department, well, within my college, there's probably about 20 departments. The cost center is just another naming, a naming way to call what you're using. Like, so the cost center for one department can be one that's doing research for schools and one that's doing teaching kids how to read. Those would have 2 different cost centers, but be under the same department. And here at the bottom is one of the most important things, is the account. This is going to say where the money is going, being credited or debited. And all these have to be filled out as much as possible, because if you spend a lot of time on this one thing, on this one area, you're not going to be able to do this quickly. So this is just a little sample I wanted to show of what an account analysis report looks like. Here again is the fund. This is the department. So we can all see that this is 11300. And here's that cost center that I was talking about, how it changes. I mean, there's one here, which is 1001004. And then you can see just down a little ways is 2590001. So what each of these things are doing is putting the information into specific areas so you can collect data. So that's what has to happen for just one report, one department. So once you get all those pulled, whether it be for budget and then actuals, you have to have both of those to come together to create, this is the final project of the actual versus budget. So you have to run operations first for the department, and then second, budgets individually, and then you can pull them together in this pivot. And as you can see, it tells a lot of information for the department heads as far as, you know, where is this money going? What are we using this for? How much do we have left? How much do we have encumbered? So that's kind of where I come in. A lot of the administrative assistants and the senior business manager don't, the business manager obviously knows how to do the polling and the parameters, but a lot of us administrative assistants aren't as good as others, and sometimes we get confused with different ways of polling. So the senior business manager and I got together and tried to find out, how can we make this streamlined? How can we get this information out there with little to no mistakes, or just getting it out there so that the department heads and the administrative assistants can use the money, or excuse me, can use the steps to see how much money they have. So this is kind of where I came in. This is the new shared file that I created, As you can see, there are there's a lot of different departments here. And within these different departments, once again, we have to go back to the operational or operations versus local operations, appropriated operations, and grant operations. So that's kind of what I created. And now down here at the bottom is what you see. It says Administrative Accounting, ESP Dashboard, and Administrative Accounting, Interpreting Account Balance. I thought this would be a wonderful opportunity for all of the administrative assistants to get together and compile a list of what we are not completely clear on as far as accounting. Accounting for an organization this big can be very, 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 very tough. So there's a lot of different rules that come in when you're looking at different tables, whether it's showing encumbrance or if it's showing expenses versus surplus. So there's just a lot of different things that come in on this and can be very confusing. So this is what I came up with the senior business manager. This is kind of what she was showing. I got all the questions, and what she came out with was, let's show people what we're talking about. So here is one example of, it's called My Dashboard Report. This is kind of getting them to understand that it's like how much money they have. And if you can see on here, the second category over, which is actual total, that's going to show as a positive balance. And that goes the same with the one below. But what I want to point out is, and that is very confusing, is if you see over here on the slide at the bottom, the second chart, it shows a negative 8,598.30. It's showing negative. That means that it does have that money. So that's what kind of makes things a little confusing for those of us who are trying to do accounting for the first time or a little unsure of accounting. So these are just showing examples for that I compiled and that we worked on together to send out to the administrative assistants. So here's a little bit more on what a pivot table looks like. On what the pivot table looks like. So it does get very confusing, and as it can show up at the budget for this, you can see a negative $3,000. The question is that really negative, or does it mean we have $3,000? So that's kind of what came in here at the second half of this budget shared file. So here it is again in the long run, so you can see how confusing this can be for people who are not accountants. So I wanted to touch on the 5 practices that I feel like I was able to learn from this project, and I also wanted to touch on the 2 that I felt like I needed to work on. The 2 that I saw in my SLIP or SILP were the model the way and to inspire a shared vision. So I just wanted to go over my 5 personal best practices. The way I modeled the way for this project by showing that I understand the problem at hand and make a positive change for the departments and for the parent organization. I inspired a shared vision. I enlisted the administrative assistants to give me feedback on what the share folder and its accessibility would be like, as well as ask them if they have any accounting questions that we could put